Hello and welcome to episode 150 of the Daily Sales Message, where each and every single day I share with you a piece of simple and actionable advice that's designed to help you feel more confident and sell more stuff. Today I'm getting straight into it. I'm talking about things that you should not assume when you're talking to a buyer. There's one thing in particular, very, very common to do this, very common, but it can be deadly either way. And it's assuming whether or not somebody can afford something. Whether or not somebody can afford something. We can't help it. We look at people and we size them up, and we generally look at how they're dressed, and you might see the car they drive, other cues, etc. But we look at people and we make a decision. They can afford it, they can't afford it, and based off of that we might not actually offer to sell something to somebody because we've already prejudged them. Or if we don't really think they can afford it, we might pre-discount and lower the price before they've even asked us to, because we think we're maximizing our chances of making a sale, which is just bananas, but it happens. When you assume you judge somebody's wallet, you assume you know what they can or can't afford, you're making that decision, you're going to be in for all sorts of issues. You don't know what people can or can't afford. It is irrelevant to you. You just tell them the price, and they will tell you if they can afford it or not. It's as simple as that. And you have to remember also that if somebody has ever had a credit card, a loan, a mortgage, an overdraft, whatever, or if you've had that yourself, and you must have had at least one of those, I'm sure, then you have by definition bought something you can't afford because you didn't have the money for it, but you bought it anyway. So not being able to afford something is a little bit of a red herring, and we shouldn't be judging people and assuming it. Let them tell you. Offer your thing to them, let them tell you. This reminds me of a time many, many years ago. I worked for a company called Maranello, which is a Ferrari aftercare center based here in the UK. And I dealt with Ferrari owners all day long on the phone and in person when they came to drop off and pick up their cars. And trust me, people that drive, the scruffier the person, the richer they are. You tend to find that people that don't have too much money are the most well-groomed and best-looking people because they're really, really trying to project this image, and the people that are a little bit more subdued, they don't have the big flashy logos, you've got scruffy old trainers on, etc. They don't feel they need to prove anything. So there's a real irony for me that we judge what people can afford because we think the scruffier a person is and don't have designer clothes on, they probably don't have the money, when actually from my experience the reverse is more often than not true. But either way, we shouldn't judge people. What they can afford is what they can afford. Even if they don't have the money, they can get the money through an overdraft, credit card, loan, payment plan, etc. So if your offering is really that important to them, they'll find a way to pay for it, ultimately. Nobody's buying something because they can't afford it. They're buying it because they don't see the priority there. There's no urgency. There's no real need. If I told you needed a £50,000 heart surgery in the next 6 months or you would die, you'd magically find that £50,000. It's as simple as that. But at this point, if you don't have that £50,000, you can't afford it, you'd still make it happen. All right, I'm going to stop waxing lyrical on this point, but you get the message, the daily sales message. Don't assume what people can or can't afford. Just make an offer to them and then shut up and let them tell you what they can or can't afford through their actions. Well, that's it for this episode of the Daily Sales Message. Tomorrow in episode 151, we're going to be talking about making your buyers feel a certain way. There's one thing in particular we want to make your buyers feel, which is going to help them to actually buy from you. We'll cover that in tomorrow's episode. If you haven't already connected with me on LinkedIn, please do so. James Newell, Clear Sales Message. You can find me over there. I share lots of simple, actionable stuff there. It's a bit like the Daily Sales Message, but less talk and more text, I suppose. Go and connect with me on there. Shoot me a DM. Tell me what you like or what you don't like. I'm a big boy about the Daily Sales Message. Thank you for listening or watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you tomorrow for another fast-talking edition of the Daily Sales Message.